Welcome in, along with Mike Renner. I'm Steve Palazzolo. Today, previewing the college football playoff semifinal matchup between Notre Dame and Clemson. It's all brought to you by Eckrich, the official smoked sausage of the college football playoff. So let's get into it, Mike. Notre Dame and Clemson. Clemson, as the year went on, I think started to bridge the gap toward Alabama. For the whole year, it was like Alabama, and then 2 through 6 or 7 or whatever. It was just in a different league. Clemson started to get a little bit closer to Alabama as the year went on, as Trevor Lawrence developed, as their coverage unit developed, and then Notre Dame. I don't know if anybody really believed in them until they started stacking up wins. The defense played better, and Ian Book really emerged. What are we looking for in this one?
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting matchups in this game, and I do think talent-wise, they're not necessarily too disevenly matched. I think Notre Dame has a lot of NFL talent that people have sort of gone under the radar, but there's one big matchup that really favors Clemson and I think is going to dictate the outcome of this game. It's Clemson defensive line.
Yeah,
Christian Wilkins, Clelin Ferrell, Dexter Lawrence, the freshman, Xavier Thomas, all of those guys up front, so talented versus both the run, both the pass, and sort of the underrated thing about this Notre Dame team, after having such good offensive lines for the past handful of years, is their offensive line this year is one of the worst in terms of major college football programs. Their highest graded offensive lineman, Robert Haynes, he only has a 73.6 overall grade. It's just not been good for them up front. Their best offensive lineman actually got hurt midseason in Alex Barr. So that's going to be such a huge mismatch. And Ian Book this season has taken a lot of sacks on his own.
13
sacks on his own. So under pressure, he's going to be under more pressure than he's ever seen all season long. That, to me, it just seems like a recipe for a disaster for Notre Dame.
Now, Book has the skill set. If he just, makes quick decisions, he's very accurate, gets the ball out, he can get the ball out of his hand and do some damage, but he needs to. If he holds onto the ball and takes more sacks, it's just making things even more difficult. Christian Wilkins, as you mentioned, up front, took a huge step forward, 91.8 pass rush grade this year. Yeah. By far the best of his career. Dexter Lawrence, 340 pounds, and his ability to just push the pocket through the middle. How has Notre Dame had this offensive success despite the offensive line? Because it's just a different team this year, right? They used to just be this great offensive line and they'd get by, but now they've got some playmakers, skill guys, and Book getting the ball.
That's the strength of this team, is the skill guys on the outside. Miles Boykins has made a ton of contested catches this season. Alize Mack, a tight end, is one of the most athletic tight ends in the country. And then since Dexter Williams got back at the running back position, the offense has been far more dynamic, much more of a big play threat at running back than they had there before. So those three guys have sort of fueled this offense. Like you mentioned, Ian Book's accurate. If you get him, a quick passing game, he can execute it. So if you're Clemson, take away the quick passing game. I expect a lot of press coverage, something to slow down these wide receivers, let your defensive line get home. If that's the case, I don't see Notre Dame moving the ball too much offensively.
Well, Book needs to have a pretty special game, right? I mean, it seems like his MO has been he's been okay for a lot of games, but he'll make some huge throws down the stretch. He did it against Pittsburgh, did it against Northwestern, some downfield throws that really saved them. It feels like he needs to do that from start to finish to be able to keep up with this Clemson offense, which again has been taken to a new level since Trevor Lawrence, the true freshman, took over. He only has 4 turnover-worthy throws the entire season, one of the best lowest percentages of turnover-worthy throws in the nation. You just don't see that from true freshmen, and it's not because he's too conservative. He's got a big arm. He drives the ball down the field to their big playmakers. Trevor Lawrence looking like a very special prospect.
Yeah, he looks well beyond his years as a freshman, but one thing that sort of people haven't talked about a ton is the fact that Clemson, since he took over, he's not really played any good defenses. He sort of played a cupcake schedule there in the ACC. They just haven't seen a team with the NFL talent like Notre Dame has this season. You mentioned guys like Jerry Tillery, Tavon Cooney, Louis Gilman, Julian Love, and Julian Acquar, all sort of first or second day NFL draft type talents on that Notre Dame defense. Not a lot of ACC defenses can match what they bring to the table there. So from that perspective, I'm not sure it's going to be necessarily the high-scoring games that Clemson has been playing of late where they're scoring 50 points on offensively. I think it could be a lower-scoring game, but at the same time, if I'm choosing between which offense I trust more, I'm going to go with Clemson at this point with Travis Etienne, one of the probably the biggest home run threat in college football at the running back position right now.
Yeah, over 8 yards per carry, and one of our highest-graded rushers this year, Etienne. He's really good, just a true sophomore. Those receivers at Clemson, though, you mentioned Julian Love outside of Notre Dame. We just ranked our top 10 draft prospects, put him in the top 10 for all of the prospects in the college football playoff. He's got to go against true freshman Justin Ross, T. Higgins on the outside. Can they match up with these big Clemson receivers?
That's the thing. T. Higgins, to me, is the next one in the line of DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins, the Clemson wide receivers. T. Higgins is going to be that guy next year. I think he's a surefire first-rounder when he does come out. He is a freak of nature, so I'm not sure you can shut them down, but I do think Julian Love, our friend of the program, Albert Breer, mocked him in the first draft of the upcoming draft. I think he's more of a day 2 prospect, but still, he's very good ball skills, very good at the catch point. I do think they can slow him a little bit.
And then what about Notre Dame's pass rush? We're 2 years removed from their just inability, ineptness, right? Getting after the quarterback. Now Jerry Tillery and just a bunch of guys who can actually get after the quarterback. Can they put some pressure on the true freshman?
I think they can, but I do think Clemson's offense is more of a quick passing offense. They do a lot of screens, a lot of stuff that is getting the ball out of his hands quickly. So I'm not sure if yes, they'll get pressure, but I'm not sure they're going to get home enough to really impact the game. But like you mentioned, Jerry Tillery, a top 5 graded interior defender in our grading this season, a top 3 in terms of pass rushing grade. He has been excellent this season. I don't see anyone on there on the Clemson front that I'd trust to block him one-on-one. So I do think some of those guys will be able to get home.
Now, as a Notre Dame alum, can you look at this game?
Objectively?
Yes.
No, I cannot. I have to.
No prediction from you in this one?
If you want, you can get a prediction from me, but it might not be accurate.
We're just bleeping out. Notre Dame's not scoring 50. They're not going to win by 40 points.
I was going to say my objective analysis all just said Notre Dame is overmatched, but then I think Notre Dame's going to win something in the neighborhood 27-21.
There's your prediction. I'll take Clemson 30-17. Is that all right?
That's pretty fair.
I hope it's a good game for your sake, though.
I do too.
So there you have it. It's our Clemson Notre Dame preview, all brought to you by Eckridge, the official smoked sausage of the college football playoff.